Oh, that was bad. That was really bad. The Vancouver Canucks are in a weird spot, and I think it would not be premature to go out there and say that things are looking a little rocky. Yeah, it's been a rocky road as of late, which is kind of why I made the thumbnail the way I did, but the Vancouver Canucks have just lost in regulation to the St. Louis Blues 2-1. And I get it, they're not going to win every single game. They're going to have their duds, they're going to have their losses. No team goes 82-0. The Vancouver Canucks are still one of the best teams in the NHL by both points and points percentage. So what's bad about that, right? Well, the thing is, this game against St. Louis, it was a really weird one, and it's one of these games where you kind of have to try to evaluate it from each angle. Because the Vancouver Canucks did not play well today. They had one goal in the first few shifts of the entire game. It's that third line, man, going out there and doing their thing. Centering pass out there by Dakota Joshua after Teddy Blueger gets it down low. And it's Conor Garland who gets the shot, and it's a really nice play to get the Canucks up 1-0 early in this one. That is the only goal scored by Vancouver tonight, as the rest of the game evolves into more of a defensive battle. The St. Louis Blues play a really tight and active game against Vancouver, which gave the Canucks a lot of problems, especially on the St. Louis forecheck, I noticed. But ultimately, the Blues come back with 2 goals later on in the game. They're similar plays, oddly enough, where the puck is in the left side in the offensive zone, it gets passed over to the back right, and the guy who takes the puck ends up walking in and sniping it. You have Colton Parayko do that, as well as Robert Thomas. 2 similar styled goals where the shooters are on similar positions on the ice. The Vancouver Canucks have no response to that, and unfortunately, when they had their opportunities, Jordan Binnington made the most out of those and stopped them up. Not to mention the fact that the Canucks could not win a faceoff in this game, and for some reason, things just looked really sloppy. Now, I didn't want to use the same sloppy SpongeBob Krabby Patty Burger thumbnail like we had in 2 prior videos already, but so many of the Canucks' just little tactics and moves in this game were not up to snuff. They were losing the puck constantly. I don't know if it was like the ice, but you saw many moments where the Canucks were trying to settle the puck and the puck gets away from them. It kind of goes forward 2 or 3 meters and they have to skate over and grab it back, which wastes time, it wastes energy, it gives the opportunity to the opposition to come in and maybe steal. And then you had yourselves the passing, which was so off in this game, especially when they were up 6-on-5 with the empty net. Everything was just a little too far forward. It's like none of the Canucks had that step to really catch up to the plays that any of the other Canucks were trying to make. There was no cohesion with the way they were trying to enter the zone. Their offensive opportunities were thwarted with so many shots that went wide. Like, it seemed every minute or two there was another shot attempt where the Canucks had a prime scoring opportunity. Either they were in the high slot or walking towards the goal, or they had a one-time option, and then the puck just goes wide, it goes high into the left or whatever. This was not a fine game. And the bad part about it was that when you think about the Vancouver Canucks and their schedule heading into tonight's contest, the game 2 nights ago against the Ottawa Senators was not particularly great either. And we said in that video, the post-game for the Canucks versus the Sens, hey, it's good that they won. They had the 5-0 lead at the start in the first 20 minutes, so that's good, but they got outplayed in the second and third periods of that game against Ottawa. So now they're playing off against a St. Louis team that's a lot better, and what, they pretty much get outplayed for the entire game? The Blues kept things tight. You could say that the Canucks had their chances and they had opportunities to really take control, but they just weren't allowing themselves to win. They were fumbling their passes. They were consistently losing control. That second period was just a repeat of the first. Lots of St. Louis chances. In the third, the Canucks had their own opportunities, but then again, Jordan Binnington stood tall. And even for Thatcher Demko, I mean, you can't go out there and blame this game on the guy. He made 30 stops in the night, which is fine. You need your goaltender to be able to make you a .938 save percentage game on any given night, and he did that. So no problems really with what Thatcher Demko was able to accomplish in this game, but for everybody else, I mean, the top line was not scoring. People were talking about Andrei Kuzmenko not being included in the lineup, which at this point is starting to become a problem. I mean, we're probably going to see a trade request if this continues. I have no doubt that this is going to become a hotter topic as the days go on. You had the Pettersson, Lafferty, Mikheyev line not really doing much. Pettersson needs play-driving wingers to play with. Sam Lafferty, unfortunately, is not that. This was one of the worst games, I would say, that the line that Elias Pettersson was on happened to play. Then you have that second line, Miller, Besser. They had their chops, they had their opportunities, but again, just a lot of these fumbled passes and fumbled scoring opportunities. Not great. And then you have the third line, which had one goal, but still, they were one of the only lines that actually showed up, and it's getting kind of concerning how the rest of the Canucks are not being there outside of the third line when it comes to offensive productivity and potential. So now when you think about it, the Canucks have gotten outplayed for, what is it now, 5 out of their last 6 periods. The Ottawa game was a pretty bad one if you want to look at it from a 60-minute standpoint. The game before the Ottawa game was also pretty bad for Vancouver. That was the Philadelphia game. So what exactly is that? Do you go 3-6-9? The Vancouver Canucks have played one good period in about 9 periods total. That's not ideal. And now you got to put into question, where do the Canucks and Rick Tocchet go? We know that Tocchet has done a really good job in folding over and making this team think of itself in a different way. There's a different identity with the Vancouver Canucks within that locker room. It's no longer the country club vibe that we saw get reported around earlier. It's a more serious and accountable environment. We know the players are saying the right things. Thatcher Demko with the comments heading into the new year, fantastic stuff. But where does that take you? That's the big question, because for Vancouver, having one good period played in your past 9 is not acceptable. Not for a team that is looking to make the playoffs and trying to sneak in on a wild card, not for a team that's number 1 in the division. This team has a higher bar now. There are expectations here that need to be fulfilled because they've already shown that they can be a lot better than this. Now it's getting a little bit more concerning because, hey, this is the first game in a 7-game road trip. They just traveled. They're playing the 5 p.m. game. They're playing in 2 days against the New Jersey Devils. And for some reason, the Vancouver Canucks can never seem to beat New Jersey. It never happens. Like, Jack Hughes and the brother, they always seem to get one over Vancouver whenever they play head-to-head. It's going to be Hughesapalooza Part 2, but hopefully there's much more of a response from this Canucks team and their offensive potential, because we know it's there. We know they can score goals. They scored 5 in 1 period against Ottawa. Their record is still all right. Their last 10 is still all right. Their points percentage is still all right. But within the last few games worth of play, you could say that there are some things that are popping up that are more concerning than not. And as for this game against the St. Louis Blues, I won't deny it. The Blues played really well. Like, this is a tight division that they're in. The Central is pretty clogged up in there. It's just Chicago, really, that's not good, quote unquote. And for St. Louis, I mean, they had a really good shutdown game. Jordan Binnington played well. They forechecked like crazy, which gave the Vancouver Canucks no time to breathe in their own zone, especially when trying to break it out. Just such a sloppy game from a puck movement standpoint for Vancouver. And a lot of that had to do with the fact that St. Louis was just not giving them any room. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about the Canucks and the Blues, whether or not this is a rocky road that the Vancouver Canucks are bestowing upon themselves. Let me know your thoughts as to where you think they go from here, and what are your thoughts on the way they're going to play New Jersey in 2 nights. I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.